Hello, everybody. It's Darren Dobson, and today I have a special guest. He's known as Laserman, aka Shaw256, founder of the Bitcoin Cypherpunks, co-founder of Gotoshi. And so I'm pretty excited because he's I call him a Bitcoin expert. I don't know if he calls himself a Bitcoin expert, but he has more experience than me. So I was fortunate enough to make a lot of money in Bitcoin, and I'm excited. He's going to give some updates on things that are happening with him and the Bitcoin space. But Laser Man, take it away.
Thank you so much, Darren. I really appreciate that. Really glad to be here and communicating with your audience and showcasing some of my work, and it's a true honor. So I founded the Bitcoin Cypherpunks here in Toronto. We have like meetups where we do educational stuff. We have guest speakers, promotional stuff, giveaways, the whole 9 yards for coming by and kind of getting like up to speed on what's happening with Bitcoin and really what's happening with Bitcoin and the focus being on Bitcoin and the whole buzz being about Bitcoin and the discussions being about Bitcoin and the just that communion being Bitcoin based as opposed to a lot of other meetups and groups in the Toronto region that say, oh yeah, we're a Bitcoin meetup group, but the thing they talk about least in their meetups and their discussions and when they get together is Bitcoin, which is really sad. But it is what it is. Somebody has to come and breathe that breath of fresh air and kind of reinvigorate the space, and that's what our group tries to do. So I'm proud of that fact. Outside of that, I also co-founded Gotoshi, and that's gotoshi.ca for anyone watching. And basically, we sell physical goods for Bitcoin. It's not just our own Gotoshi Direct store, which sells like home essentials and groceries and stuff. We have other shops that are their own e-commerce businesses online, Canada-wide, and they're also on our website, and they're selling their physical goods for Bitcoin as well. It's a very simple business model. You send some Bitcoin in for your for whatever you want to purchase, and the receiver of that Bitcoin, in the sense that say it's one of the shops that work independently of Gotoshi but are listed on our marketplace, or Gotoshi Direct, which is us. Once we receive that Bitcoin, we simply ship your product to you to your front door, or we deliver it ourselves if you're getting it from Gotoshi Direct. So it's kind of like a similar to like an Amazon style business, and it's working. We're getting sales, we're in revenue. We just started about 5 weeks ago, so we're really young, very eager to prove ourselves. So far so good, and we can't wait to see what the future holds. And I'm really happy to have this I want to say dialogue between you and I and anyone else who might be watching to like get everyone kind of informed on what's happening with this, because I think it's quite innovative.
That's interesting. So 5 weeks ago, just to inform everybody, we don't know when they're watching, but we're doing this recording on September 24th, 2023. So that's one. So everybody know 5 weeks ago before that he started. But I'm sure you've been working years with Bitcoin and many months with these retailers and stuff like that. Can you hint at so it's across Canada right now, and you're based in Toronto, Canada. Can you give us a hint of some of the retailers that are really excited and are partnering with you?
So we had Live Organic get on our platform. He does like millions of dollars in revenue a year. Uh, I'm the senior orange pillar at the company. So my job is to contact people that are interested. Well, they're not interested. They're not even aware of Bitcoin. So let me rephrase that. They're just entrepreneurs, and they excel in business, and they have really fun, cool, neat products that people like and love. We try to take the holistic approach as much as possible to keep good things on our shelves, our digital shelves rather. And I contact them and I say, hey, look, listen, why don't you open up some more revenue streams and potential ways to profit by accepting Bitcoin? Because you can put your feelings and your thoughts on what money is to the side and just understand that this is money. And once they kind of grasp that and understand that, then they're like, okay, cool, sure, no problem. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a try and see if it's worthwhile. Or sometimes they're just genuinely interested and they think it's cool and fun and exciting and they want to be a part of it. So they integrate being able to accept Bitcoin into their systems. And then boom, next thing you know, they're working with us. And that's how I've done it with some retailers. We have Wild Meadow Farms on there. They're also accepting Bitcoin for their beef products. I have some female entrepreneurs on there as well that sell like beauty products, healthcare products. We have Ricky Shee, who's a really big retailer downtown that sells like handcrafted uh, luxury purses and leather bags and all kinds of an assortment of like really cool products and all these people had never really been I mean Bitcoin's a household name, so they've heard about Bitcoin, but they didn't know how they could mesh with that and integrate it into their system. So I'm really honored to be the one that kind of handheld them through that process and got them onboarded. So now they're willing to accept it, and people can see what purchasing things with Bitcoin can manifest and what it can do. So it's a great demonstration, a great exercise, and yeah, as far as forward looking with new retailers and new business people, sorry, rather business people, business owners coming on board with Gotoshi, they're in the pipeline. We're always in discussions with people. Now that we have a functioning site and platform that works, we're taking a different approach on getting people onboarded. I want to try to do like batches of onboarding, so like 5 to 10 businesses at a time, or even if they slowly trickle in. But right now, because the last 6 months was getting these businesses online, I've kind of shifted my focus a bit on more customer retention, because it was easier to build in stealth where I didn't have to deal with orders coming in. But now that I have orders coming in, it's like I gotta like do two things, and like it just cuts into more of my time and more of my availability to be able to get the startup booming. So I've shifted a bit more focus on customers in the meantime. However, we are seeing more business come be interested and eager to work with us, and now they're kind of reaching out to us, which is cool. So it's like a shift of it's a climate change for sure. And also I think a neat thing to point out that I want everyone to know, I don't know if I've said this before publicly, is that when I got the original, I think it was about 20 business owners to get on Gotoshi, only like 13 or 14 or 15 or something ended up making the cut, because when it came time to premiere, some of them just weren't meeting our eligibility requirements. I actually did it all with no website and no platform. A lot of
Wow.
people don't know that. So they were just like taking me like on like the risk factor like through the roof. Like they were like, I don't know, man, this guy seems like a bit of a nut job, but okay, maybe he's onto something. So thank you to everyone that gave me a chance. And I told you it was the real deal.
But you got to start, you got to being something like you're taking on something like people that, they know their business. Some of them do online sales, but they're not knowledgeable. Most people aren't knowledgeable about Bitcoin. They've heard of it. And you're taking on, here's a form of payment. Because some people I want to introduce you to is like people like take Union Pay and all this, and which is to buy cars. So why can't they accept Bitcoin? So it's just getting them used to it. And one thing it sounds like you can take from mom and pop shops all the way to big retailers. So it's just starting those discussions. But as well as like customer retention, I think is fun and cool, because not only the people that have Bitcoin, but people interested in Bitcoin, they'll come, since you're in that ecosystem, they'll come to you for advice, like which digital wallet should I download that you recommend, and all these things. And it just have more people you educate, the more they feel comfortable and the more they'll try it out. But have just opportunities where like you have educational seminars that you say you do, let people get together,
Right.
and they can learn more and more, and they get excited, and they want to try it. So do something. Here's a trial. Like say there's a retailer, they'll give them a deal. It's like, try us. Here's a special to your group. Is normal price is $100 for this gift basket. Here's it for $50, $50 in Bitcoin. And I'm assuming it changes. The price of Bitcoin is always changing every second, I guess. So it's when you make that transaction, or how does that work?
Well, the volatility rather is a bit of an issue, but the way our system kind of works it is that once you're ready to like check out with an item, you won't really find it like bothersome because the price is locked into like the last like 10 minutes that Bitcoin was trading for, as opposed to like what it's been going for in the last like second. So you're not like constantly getting a new checkout price at every turn. Most payment processing systems in Bitcoin are kind of following this model because it would just be too bothersome and too hectic for the customer, right? So, and yeah, and everything else you said is very true. Like getting people to get a digital wallet and stuff like that. We just do our best to make people steer clear of getting any wallet that supports anything that isn't Bitcoin, because our group and what we do, we're very, very stuck in our ways and with cause to believe and assert the fact that anything outside of Bitcoin is a scam. And we're very, very, I want to say that we push for that narrative heavy because it's a true narrative. And there's a reason for that. And it's a very deep rabbit hole to go down, which isn't necessarily um, the the highlight of today's discussion, but I do want people to always be well aware that the only thing that can protect you from the upcoming storm and the storms that have come before and uh and keep you entrenched in reality is Bitcoin, and keep you protected. And like it's funny because I had some business owners and even customers approach me with, "Hey, I love to also like some business owners said maybe I can accept cryptocurrencies," and some customers said I like to pay with cryptocurrencies, and the reason like my reason for turning all those that optionality down for people was that like I'm personally not comfortable with it, and neither should you be, and neither should the world at large be, because uh, Bitcoin is that one is a commodity that can actually be trusted to. Well, you don't have to trust it; it's verifiable, but it's something where I don't have to be like, hey, accept it, or I'll accept it, and then 6 months or a year from now, turn around and say, oh my God, I lost everything. Because we feel secure and we feel security in giving those offerings to business owners and customers alike. Outside of that, we just feel like icky inside. We feel like, oh my God, like we're doing something wrong, because these scam projects always go bust and lose their value. And the last thing you want is a business owner or a customer coming back to you in 6 months or a year from now and saying, hey, that money you sent me is worth nothing now. And I got screwed over by this guy or XYZ. So being a builder in the space and seeing how these things kind of traverse and correlate and work together and how the puzzle comes together, it even it reinforces that Bitcoin only stance, because anything else you're really playing with fire. So I hope everyone knows what they're getting involved with when they
Yeah,
try these instruments, these financial instruments out.
yeah. I always tell people diversify is the main thing. Is diversify at least into five sectors. So for me, like owning a business is good, but then owning real estate is good. And, I own bank stock, which is gold and silver, which is good. And I did get into Bitcoin. I made a lot of money in Bitcoin because I bought at the right price. I bought in at 5,000 and it went up to 64. And then, what is it, 25, 30 now or something? 30,000 now?
Yeah, it's about like I don't know, like maybe like 35% of the all-time high value currently.
Yeah.
But like, Darren, you're a baller. What are you buying me? You're gonna get me something nice, right?
I'm not rich.
Really.
It's just because the thing is, it's scary for people, but I say to make it less scary is being around people that have done it before, like Laser Man and myself. I've done it before. So you see me at the things like I just get recommended which digital wallet to get, and then all you do is it's really simple to buy and sell. Like I go to my one of my friends over the counter, and I bring cash, and then we just have a cup of tea, and he transfers the Bitcoin. Well, boom, there it is. Great.
Well, I mean, that's how it should be, right? Like it should be like peer to peer, right? Like why the need for these exchanges all the time? I get it, like they do fill like a certain need in the market and people feel comfortable doing it and all that stuff. Like so I'm not like totally against it. And like also like I'm totally against people keeping their funds on exchanges where I'm like, why are you doing that? You can be totally be your own bank. You can broadcast your own transactions. So people really shouldn't be doing that. Not your keys, not your coins. But outside of outside of that, yeah, it totally should be peer to peer. And people are spoiled now because the way I had it back in the day, maybe even the way you had it, based on what you're telling me, is, dude, when I was getting Bitcoin in the early days, it was at some seedy, sketchy pawn shop, or you don't know if you're going to get Bitcoin or if you're going to get stabbed. And it's like, oh, this is weird. Now you can get Bitcoin from Canada Post just over the counter with like some teenager behind the counter that's just going to scan a QR code, and everything's like extremely safe and surveillance properly and all that stuff. Which is like, I think there's a Canada Post in every Shoppers Drug Mart across Canada. So like, it's like
That's
you guys
cool.
have, yeah, if you want non KYC Bitcoin and you want easy uh, you want easy access to Bitcoin, it's like white glove service right now for you. You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was like it was open season on people that were trying to get Bitcoin. It was like, you just don't know. Your odds are 50-50 whether or not you're going to walk away with Bitcoin at the end of that purchase.
And I remember, I don't know if it was Bitcoin, but remember at the beginning with some, it takes a long time for the transaction to happen, whereas Bitcoin is pretty
Yeah.
fast. So
Yeah.
it's like you're waiting and waiting. Oh, you'll get it. It's like maybe hours. Like now it's like minutes or less.
Main chain problems. Yeah. You know, like waiting 10 minutes, half hour, to even an hour or hours for these things to come through, especially back in those days, right? I
Yeah.
think like even main chain has sped up by now, but you can just have everything instantaneously sent to you via Lightning. But Lightning is not necessarily meant for like big, larger transactions. If you're buying like even like what you said, like $5,000 worth of Bitcoin or something like that, it might be, you might run into liquidity issues and stuff like that. But if you're buying $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, it's okay. Go main chain and just wait the 10 minutes because it's $5,000. You know what I mean? Like that's not
Exactly.
like, it's not pennies. And it's worth it for you for the confirmations and the security of knowing that it actually went through and you got it.
Yeah. And I always tell people, if you're doing a large amount, just do a small amount, like $5 or something like that, and then wait. Oh, oh, pops through. Okay, grid. So the code works. Everything's working great, and then you can do the large amount after. That's what
Absolutely, yeah. Send a
that's what I
little
always tell
tester.
people.
Yeah, make
Yeah,
sure it's right on both ends,
yeah.
and then proceed from there, to just do it all in one shot on just an assumption. Ooh, you never know. You might get hurt.
So let's promote a little bit more about gotoshi.ca. So that's an online retailer. So it's active now and
Active
stuff
now.
like that. So if people are interested, that now, how do you spell gotoshi? So your website, so they go to the right website.
All right. So it's gotoshi.ca.
There
So
you go.
that's gotoshi.ca. Once you land on there, you'll see like some of the hot items that are selling. We're still growing and getting more businesses, so don't be alarmed if you don't see the world at your fingertips. But there is, uh, you'll find a lot of stuff that you buy in your day-to-day life, and I really push for that because I felt as though that would help people get familiar with these systems and know that it doesn't always have to be so niche. Because prior Bitcoin marketplaces are just selling Bitcoin stickers for Bitcoin. And it's like, okay, thank you for that nice novelty item, but now this doesn't really push me into high gear and make me go like, I need to be like, I can actually potentially live on a Bitcoin standard with my day-to-day goods and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's good to have variety and all that stuff, but it's also good to have the things you need in the here and now. So we're trying to cater to both markets. We're building, I think I checked our inventory and we have like 200 plus items on Gotoshi, like all
Wow.
together. I think it's
Wow.
like 250. I remember I was like I was adding some items the other day and there was like 267 items on gotoshi.ca that you can order. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And we're looking at growing that. So there's a nice amount of variety there. You can go through our stores. You'll see who you're buying from, the pages of the products, because it
Mhm.
says sold for Bitcoin by, and then it'll say who the store is that's selling it to you.
Cool.
So if it's from us, it'll say like Gotoshi Direct. If it's someone like Live Organic, it'll say Live Organic. So you get a feel for who you're purchasing from, and you can also click on that vendor and get a little bit of info on them, a little background,
That's
just
good.
to get yourself familiar. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty neat. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's room to grow with that format and that look and that cosmetic. So and people have really warmed up to it and liked it, and I've gotten nothing but positive feedback all across the board.
That's
So I'm
good.
like, okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's I want to say that we're also going to be considering uh doing a drop down. Actually, we are doing it. We're going to do a drop down on the homepage and one of the tabs there on the bars where you can see all the stores listed for what we have on Gotoshi.
That's
So
cool.
you don't have to sift through it as much. So it makes it easier for the user experience. And it's very easy. Go there and check out item that you like, and then if you add it to, it's no different than any other e-commerce website where you just add it to your bag, go to checkout, and then the only difference being, so when you're ready to pay, it's with Bitcoin main chain or Lightning, and get something delivered to your house. And we do, if you're in the GTA right now in the month of September at least, I don't know if it's going to continue until October, is you can buy any item from Gotoshi Direct, big or small, for zero delivery fee and zero minimums. So just to get you familiar
Okay.
and started with it. And we're running that promotion right now, and I think maybe in October it'll be a $50 minimum for you to buy essentials if you're in the GTA, which you and I are in the GTA. So I know that for you, it's beneficial, and anyone else who's around us that's watching this. But Canada wide, everything else ships. You can try it out that way if you want. And there's, I think with some of our vendor partners, they have like a minimum orders where if you order a certain amount, you get free delivery. So that's cool. And we're building on this. And I really encourage everyone to try it out and get away from the traditional way of buying your goods, because when you stay in the traditional realm, then you also turn in a lot of privacy rights, a lot of I'll take it a step farther and say that they demand that you be financially fit to engage on their platforms. And that's not, from an ethical standpoint, from a moral standpoint, it's like, I'm not down with this. I don't like this. If you have money, you should be able to buy things, bottom line.
Mhm.
And in Toronto and places like the GTA Canada, blah, 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 we're fairly spoiled, but because we have debit, we have credit, we have stuff like that. But there's people in other parts of the world, and they are looking at first world countries like us, and they want us to lead by example. So we should be able to do something that uh, helps them kind of say, okay, you know what? If they're doing it, then I'm really onto something, because people will use Bitcoin because it's a necessity, not an option. But when they see people who are in first worlds countries, nations, engaging in Bitcoin when they don't have to, then it gives them that extra push, and we should be helping with that. I really feel strongly about that side of it, and also it's the other part of that Rubik's cube is uh, why do you always want to go with the crowd that is already, like, it creates monopolization.
Mhm.
Like, this is how Amazon and all these big companies are able to avoid taxes and do all these things. They become these big behemoths that they don't have to answer to anyone, and they can do whatever they want. Apple, Amazon, all these people taking your credentials, your information, and doing what they want with it. You empower them by just always going to them, like, take a chip away at a little bit of their power, because centralized power is not the ideal way. And you're going to you might find yourself in a bit of a dystopian future you didn't necessarily ask for. And like my co-founder made a really good point too the other day when I was talking to him on the phone. He said he knows damn well he can buy a t-shirt from Walmart for like $10.
Mhm.
But if he buys a t-shirt from Gotoshi, he knows he's contributing to the Bitcoin ecosystem and it makes him, and it's a good thing. Um it's and he's like he buys his t-shirt from this website where if you buy a t-shirt from there, they'll plant 10 trees.
Well, that's cool.
So and he's like, okay, so that's why I buy my t-shirts from that site, because if every time I buy a t-shirt, they plant 10 trees, I'm helping out the environment, I'm doing something good for the climate. And I'm like, okay, so that's basically kind of what the value proposition of Gotoshi is. I'm well aware you can buy Lysol from the dollar store or the Amazons of the world, but when you buy it on Gotoshi, you're contributing to fixing the climate of finances.
Mhm.
So why not, right? Anyways,
I think it's so awesome. No, I think it's good. Is there certain, so right now you're building up retailers and customers at the same time. You said you were focused more on customers now or retaining customers anyways. So is there a list of things that you're looking for or the customers are looking for would like to see on your platform?
yeah, great question, man. So we're getting new customers all the time. And now we're also proud to say getting rebuyers. So I was like, oh, I hope I didn't scare them off. Like, I hope it went well. I hope they liked it. I hope they liked their stuff and what have you. And then they now they're rebuying. We're getting customers trickling in. And what was the third part of your question? Sorry.
So what are the customers looking for? Because you're getting
Thank you.
both
Yes, that's what it
customers.
was. I'm like, oh, I think I just slipped my mind there for a second. So they're like, hey, look, I want this, I want that. You don't have this, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm like, please, like, if I don't have it, submit it to me. Like, send me a message, send me an email, whatever. Get in touch with me, and I will look at adding it into the inventory as long as my suppliers are willing to purchase it in fiat potentially, put it on my site, and then sell it to you for Bitcoin.
That's cool.
So it has to mesh with our business model. And for the most part, I've been able to add additions to the inventory to meet this demand, which is so cool, like seeing it happen and work. We really are catering to our customer base and trying to look out for them the best way we can, and doing our darndest to keep everyone happy. So all those segments are being well looked after, at least up until this point. But like if we get like insane amounts of volumes and like it really scales up to like a unmanageable amount, then I'll have to look into how to approach it with a bigger team and just a different strategy, because things get really crazy when you're a small company taking a high volume of orders.
Gonna be fun. All right, well,
Yeah.
we're running out of time, so we'll be back on another session one day with Laserman.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Darren. Please, everyone, check out the links below. I'm sure they'll be there for my website, our socials. If you're ever interested in getting more involved with Bitcoin and really truly learning about Bitcoin itself, and not a lot of these nonsense groups that say they're talking about Bitcoin, but they actually aren't, by all means, come on by. We do our meetups every 3 weeks in North York. And please check
Perfect.
out Gotoshi and show your support. And definitely check out Darren Dobson. He's the man. His interviews are the best. His I love the short form stuff. I love the realism behind it, and it's just all like
Authentic.
content is really really informative. So make sure you check out his channel.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
Laserman, nice to see you. We'll see you at a meetup in North York soon.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.